You should ask them, like, y'all ready for this 5-minute mile?
I'm giving everything I got.
I'm trying to throw up.
Seniors, we have Curtis Jenkins.
Road dogs, most of our wins came from on the road, so that's what we do. We like that environment, and also being together away on those trips. You know what I'm saying? It really gets us going.
Which is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. We had Mike Torrey, which is he was an integral part, very integral part. He ended up making the tying basket to put us in overtime in the championship game, and we had my guy Chris.
Pumped, we're still, excited about, winning the ECC for the first time in school history.
These guys were integral in regards to our success. Now Curtis, the freshman, he played as a freshman alongside Charlie and Jay. So he played all 4 years, pretty much had logged significant minutes. But I think that this year he matured a lot. Still issues that, I think that we had to deal with, in regards to being responsible, maturity, being on time. But the one thing Coach always says is that, we're not necessarily coaching these kids for success on the court. We're coaching them for, success in life off the court, right? So the things that, Curtis struggled with were important for us to help him out with, because more importantly, we knew that these are the things that would ultimately make him successful off the court, right? And so, but he's a great guy, motor. He got a dog in him. You know what I'm saying? Kurt got a dog in him that you can't. You can't coach, right? You can't train. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a competitor, and very early on in his career, he was so much a competitor that it was a detriment to himself. He wanted to make the biggest play all of the time. He wanted to dunk it rather than making a layup when we were down 1. Would do the most, right? But then Kurt would get it back on defense. Like, Kurt would do the most ultimate dribble through the defense, dribble through 3 people, but then get it back on defense. So you're like, oh, Kurt! Then he gets it back. So you're like, oh, Kurt! So you let them rock. But so from freshman year to a senior year, he matured immensely, right? He matured immensely and was an integral part of us being successful. You talk about Mike Torrey. Mike Torrey came in, I used to call him Top Gun, right? Because he had the Tom Cruise look. He was a pretty boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, had the part in his head with the little sachet across with the gel and all of that, Mike was special very early on. Like, Mike just wanted to get better. Like, Mike was a pretty boy, but he wanted to get better, but he was a hard worker. But his freshman year, that boy could not run down the court without tripping over his own 2 feet. I'm talking about like, he could be sitting on the sideline watching the game and get hurt. That's like, I ain't understand it. But his sophomore year, he hit some very big shots. We played St. John's at St. John's. Maybe it was Rutgers. We played Rutgers at Rutgers, and we gave him a run for their money. And we had put him in. I think he had hit a 3 to put us up one. And it was just it was those moments that allow you to see that, a player's personality, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas some players don't want to be in those moments, even though they say they want those moments. In reality, when they're confronted with those moments, they shrink. He never shrunk to those moments. He always wanted to be in those moments. And one of the things that, Mike had a chip on his shoulder a lot because people never, he never got the acclaim that he thought he deserved, or, people always looking at somebody else overlooking him. And so it was very apparent that he had a chip on his shoulder. And then also that same year, we played St. Leo's in Florida, and he hit another big shot. I'm talking about like 30 seconds left. We down 2. You know what I'm saying? The ball swings to him off a double from Jay. Then Jay passes it to Charlie. Charlie pump fakes, passes it to Steve in the corner, and then to Mike in the corner. Steve is his little brother, and he just like not even a thought. He just like, yeah, this is going up all net. And then one more game I remember, we we was playing at Delphi. We was getting smacked. And I don't know, like by 20 in the second half. We was down 20 in the second half, but we started to make a little run. And so Mike was sitting right next to me. Like where I sit on the bench, I sit closest to the team, right? So my coach didn't sit down. So it's coach always up on the sidelines, is up. I mean, coach very real. I think coach may have sat down one time this entire season. Is when we was smacking the team. Then it's Coach Cap. Then it's Pat, Coach Pat. He's a head offensive guy in the longest. He's the longest term assistant at Coach Cap. He's been here 10 years. Coach Pat and Coach Marquardt coached me when I played here. So then it's me. So Mike is right here next to me. So we're making this run. Mike's like, Coach. They call me ITM. They're like, ITM. Like, come on, put me. I need it. Put me in. I'm ready. I'm like, all right. And so me and Coach Pat have a relationship where Pat makes the rotation, right? That's what he does. But as a coaching staff, I will be like, Pat, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do this. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's try it. Sometimes it's like, no, that's a dub. I'd say we're not doing it. But like, that's part of like coaching. But also, I always tell the guys, that's part of life. Like, I get shut down all the time. I get shut down by my wife. I get shut down on my job. So being told no by one of my coaches, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, Pete, let's look at Mike. He's like, nah, Mike's not ready. So I'm like, all right. I leave it alone. Like, you know what I mean? So then Mike's like, come on, I'm ready. So I say, all right, Mike, I got you. Just give me a second. It goes maybe another 2 to 3 minutes, maybe less than that, maybe 40, 50 seconds. I go, P, let's look at Mike. He's like, yo, you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. He's like, all right. So then we go, he tells Mike to, go in the game. Mike goes in the game. Mike hits like 3 big threes. We end up rallying back down 20 in the second half to beat Delphi at home. That was a season part of our championship run. And those are one of those moments that where you saw that sometimes it's more than just basketball, where like, if you play the right way, the game rewards you. And so because they never gave up and they played the right way, the game rewarded them.